Hey guys, Brent Hull, going to do a new Wednesday special here where we talk about some of the consulting work I've done and looking at house plans, trying to fix them, trying to make them look better. And it's a bunch of little things often that can make, a house go from good to great. So come check it out. A couple projects that we've done that highlight the differences and changes that historic authenticity can make. As I said, I'm consulting on a lot of projects where people send me the plans and they just say, hey, you kind of help us, something's not right. And so on this plan, in particular, this is be a new, house in Montana, meant to be kind of log cabin-y, timber framed kind of combination. And that's one of the challenges here is that we've got this log cabin working underneath, and yet we've got these timber frame braces here. What I did was, I started looking at the windows, the height of the window off the floor, just the relationship, just of these open light 1/1s. This door looks new to me. I didn't love this entry piece, and they've got this wraparound porch that goes all the way around the other side, which I was trying to play with, and really I'm playing with the materiality and then also kind of the way it would be constructed. So in this case, they've got a fascia running across here, right? And so I'm like, well, that fascia for a rustic place like that probably isn't the most appropriate thing. So let's put some open rafter tails in there. So this is kind of what I did. It's not kind of what I did, it's what I did. So one, I strengthened those columns with something that's this rock base and these columns that go up. Now the story that they wanted was kind of a turn of the century 1920s cabin. So it's a little bit of a hybrid, right? And so this kind of pairing between those columns is something you see in arts and crafts houses. The river is actually really close to this house, and so using the rock elements right in there, you'll notice on the main house that there's no real porch floor, and I was saying to them that are you having a wood floor? I mean, is it going right to the ground? How far are we up on here? And so I've built the porch up about 2 steps so that we see a little bit of a dark line underneath there, and then these rock pillars, right, they drop down through here. I changed the windows, right? They have these transom windows over top, and I just made the windows taller, but you'll also see that I raised up the windowsill, kind of not down to that full height. The siding here I changed. They had the board and batten, and really in my mind there is and the size of these windows, right? One of the questions they have is they've got double hungs here, they've got casements here. How should that work? And I've gone with all double hungs downstairs, casements in this upstairs kind of loft area. So the smaller windows convey a sense they're kind of tucked up into the attic. They don't need to have big panes up there. They're smaller panes. And really, this is a siding, okay? So there's kind of 3 historic sidings. There's the board and batten, there's a siding, and there's a wane edge siding, which I'll show on the other side. I've got strong pillars on either end, kind of locking those corners. Remember, there's the porch that comes out. I changed the pattern on the light, took the arch out, more divided light. Did a 6/1, which is a pretty typical type of window. And then, of course, I raised the peak of this thing, try to put a little bit more arts and crafts kind of timber framing detailing there. You'll notice on the front door, this kind of the door with that little arch, there's no real precedent for that historically. I put side lights, kind of built side lights into it, and then given them a divided light here. Changed the light pattern on all the transoms. All these transoms are kind of odd, and so I don't like it when a window has a light pattern that's horizontal. I always like to flip those light patterns up so that we get verticality here instead of emphasizing horizontal. I want to emphasize the vertical. So I've gone away from that, gone away from these transoms over top of these windows and just made taller windows taken those 1/1s, made them 6/1s, changed the size of those casements, right? A bunch of little tweaks that I think, help it out. On the other side, right, we've got this cabin, we've got this large fireplace. I don't like these doors. Basically, I've kind of working from the corner, I've played around with this where I've put in taller panel in the bottom. That's pretty typical in the turn of the century that you would have a taller panel here. Now, I understand that this architect just had some hatching and just put some river rock on there, but we really want to emphasize that those stronger rocks are on the bottom working towards the top and that they are visually carrying this thing. The other thing on the other side you might have noticed, or on this here, they've got a corrugated roof. Really, a raised seam roof is actually going to be a little bit more historic, and so then a corrugated roof. So I've shown them a corrugated roof here as an idea. I've opened up the rafter tails so that you see rafter tails instead of having this closed system here. Changed the windows, and this is a wane edge siding that you may recognize. Basically, it's like planks were sawn off a round log, and you end up with what's called a wane edge, where the edge of the board on the outside is seen, and they really have a lot of movement, and I think they're really interesting. But you see, I've shortened the windows, I've added the rafter tails, and I've gone back to this system of the river rock pedestals supporting the columns above, which I think are stronger than these here, and I think help read a little bit better. You notice I changed to a tall transom instead of the multi-light there. This is a stair on a landing, but I don't find historic precedent for it, so I left it out. I just thought it looked kind of funky. And these are a bunch of master bedrooms in here. And then as you go around the front side of the house, you'll see that what was here was this kind of light pattern, which this is a main great room inside here, which would be really pretty and nice. Just I don't like that light pattern, so I've gone back with kind of a light pattern that adds a little bit more drama. It puts a half circle in there, something that I believe would have happened in the turn of the century, 1900s. They have this wraparound porch coming around. I've taken that off. I've just kind of stopped it here. I'm showing them the different ways that the higher pitch and what that does and where that reflects. Tried to simplify this house, added the dovetail corners, added rock on the bottom, right, lifted it up visually so that shows up a little bit better. But I think, if I'm tooting my own horn, we've improved the look of this house. We've improved the strength of it. We've improved the architectural details, the historic authenticity. And, that's really those kind of three things that I'm trying to do on these projects is takes the parts and pieces, help them to make sense, help them so that they're beautiful, so that people can have better looking houses, and it's really all in the detail. Okay guys, what do you think? Just some tweaks, right? Some historic details, changing the transom lights, changing the strength of those columns, changing the open eaves, right? Window sizes, all of those little things, each are 2 to 3 to 4 to 5%, but put 10 of them together and you've got 20, 30, 40% difference. So it does make a difference, those historic things. There is a lot of fun stuff we can do, learning from the past. I'm Brent Hull, thanks for watching.